Yo, Julius, it's your girl Raven Chapman, the Omen. Just want to give you a big shout out here from the UK. Ring IQ, you're the man. Thanks so much for your support.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. Raven Chapman is gutted over Steffi Bull's prison sentence. The 10-year prison sentence for Steffi Bull has almost pushed Raven Chapman between a rock and a hard place, forcing her to go searching for a new manager. It was revealed at the beginning of last month that Bull, whose real name is Andrew Bulcroft, has been put behind bars for conspiracy to supply cocaine. The Doncaster trainer and manager was convicted of the crime, along with co-defendant Benjamin Williams, by a jury at Sheffield Crown Court in February, despite his initial claims of innocence. Evidence showed that Bull had operated under the alias of Yummy Cub, using an encrypted phone network in pursuit of purchasing large amounts of the Class A drug. Later, the Yorkshireman pleaded guilty while at the same time citing financial struggles during the COVID-19 pandemic as the primary motivation behind his actions. That, of course, did not exactly wash with the judge, Peter Hampton, who ultimately determined that both Bull and Williams were motivated by financial greed. In any case, the outcome of a 10-year sentence has now put Chapman, 9 wins with 2 losses and 2 knockouts, who was previously managed by Bull, in a rather difficult situation. The 31-year-old would often train alongside Terry Harper, 3-weight world champion, while the pair enjoyed plenty of success through their relationship with Bull. But now, Chapman has been forced to consider alternative options from a managerial perspective, hoping to make the right choice for her career moving forward. We'll see what happens, she told Boxing News. There's a lot that's gone on with my old manager, Steffi, so it's about finding the right route for this next part of my career. It's hard for me because I owe a lot of my career to Steffi. He got me in with Frank Warren, introduced me to the right people, and got me the fights that I got. So for me, I'm absolutely gutted. I wanted to do my whole career with my team and my manager. They're like family to me. I know that he's absolutely gutted and feels like he's let me down. That's so heartbreaking to see because I don't think he's a bad person. He's paying the price for it, but there's no hard feelings. Shit happens in life. I know that he'll always be rooting for me, no matter what I do. Chapman has not fought since her second professional loss back in March, back when she was dropped and comprehensively outpointed by Olympic bronze medalist Karis Artingstall. Prior to that, the Omen suffered an equally convincing unanimous decision loss to Skye Nicholson, who handily retained her WBC featherweight title in October of last year. For Chapman, though, there is a feeling that, especially in her encounter with Artingstall, she was far from the best version of herself. But before she returns to the ring, hoping to prove that she still has plenty to offer, the former world title challenger must first find a new set of handlers. Terry Harper already has. Terry Harper, who'd been with Steffi Bull for the longest time, already has a new trainer, new manager. Now Raven's got to do the same. I've had a few offers, so it's just about deciding what's best for me, she said. There's other people involved in Bull's previous managerial team, but my main relationship was with Steffi. A lot of shit has gone on since March, and I've just had to overcome it. Now I'm ready to get back in there and show everyone who the fuck I am.
Chapman.
I'll hopefully be out before Christmas or early next year, and we'll see what happens. What happened? Steffi got busted for selling drugs, and that's all there is to it. She's gonna be going away for a long time, and that's all there is to it. Now Raven has to rebuild, regroup, and return. I still love Raven Chapman, and I'd like to think that she still loves me. Suffering 2 back-to-back losses to Skye Nicholson and Karis Artingstall, I don't think there's any shame in that. It characterizes what I say all the time. At the lower weights, the women's divisions are just deeper, more dangerous. There's more talent because it's more densely populated. Can Raven Chapman become a featherweight champion, assuming she comes back as a featherweight? I think she can, and I think the best route to go would have to be the IBF route, where Nina Menka holds the blue and gold title. I would give Raven very good odds to beat Nina if she can position herself for that fight. The other 3 titles at that weight are split between Amanda Serrano, unified champion, and Tiaria Brown, newly crowned WBC champion. So of the 3 champions that are there, I would say that Nina is the most beatable, and I'd like Raven's chances against her if she can position herself for that fight. That's at 126. At 130, currently Alicia Baumgartner is still undisputed champion at 130, but I anticipate that after her next fight, she's likely going to move up, and when she does, all those belts will go vacant and be redistributed. Raven can move up and fight for one of them. 2 career setbacks, arguably 3 with her old manager's imprisonment, is not the end of the world for Raven Chapman. It doesn't have to be, and I like her attitude. I look forward to seeing her again, whether it's at the end of this year or the beginning of the next one. I look forward to her return. In men's featherweight news, January 24th, WBO champion Navarrete versus IBF champion Sugar Nuñez, World Featherweight Championship Unification Match. We know that after Sugar Nuñez's last fight, this unification match was an idea that Eddie Hearns was bouncing around. WBO Super Featherweight champion Emmanuel Navarrete, 39 wins, 2 losses with 1 draw and 1 no contest. And IBF champion Sugar Nuñez, 30 wins with 28 knockouts and only 1 loss. The title unification match will be held on January 24th, and both sides agree to play. Although the venue of the match has not yet been decided, Eddie Hearn, the matchroom impresario who promotes Nuñez, said, "If this match is in Phoenix or San Diego, it will generate huge profits. And the opening in the United States, the event is considered to be powerful." Translation's a little rough. The article is translated from Japanese. On May 28th at Yokohama Buntai, Nuñez defeated Rikishi Rigoka. Promoter Eddie Hearn said on the ring after the fight, "There's another great Mexican confrontation to be realized. It's Nuñez versus Navarrete." He called out to the audience, calling Navarrete into the ring, appealing the match between the two. "We are waiting for the official announcement." Emmanuel Navarrete, for the longest time now, on this side of the border, has been promoted by Top Rank, though so far, Top Rank has been missing in action all of August, all of September, and what looks to be most of October. What looks to be the rest of the year. A byproduct of them not having a new broadcast partner yet. That being said, I don't think that Top Rank will be any issue. I don't think they'll have one with Emmanuel staying busy on the matchroom side of things. Where before, sides of the street might have been an impediment, not here and now. They've already outsourced a good number of their fighters to other promotional outfits in an effort to keep them active. This Thursday, Michaela Mayer will be in action north of the border in Canada on what is an Eye of the Tiger management show. Next month, we're going to be seeing Richard Torres, Emiliano Vargas, champion Rafael Espinoza on what is a Zanfer Promotions show, and apparently early next year in January we're going to be seeing Emmanuel Navarrete on the matchroom side of things against Sugar Nuñez. A fantastic fight and a great stylistic matchup, arguably the best one for a casual observer. The kind of boxing fan that isn't watching boxing for the feints and the footwork. They want to see the blood, the guts, the action. 2 pressure fighters. It's what both Emmanuel and Sugar Nuñez are. 2 come-forward volume punchers, 2 pressure fighters of Mexican descent, and what will be an all-action shootout. Now, when last we saw 3-weight world champion Emmanuel Navarrete earlier this year, it was against Charlie Suarez, where he didn't look his best, and the contest ended quite controversially. Though so far, he's been allowed to keep his brown belt, his WBO title. Vaguely recall the controversial end to the Charlie Suarez fight that led to talks of a potential rematch being ordered. Though, so far, the year has come and gone, and Emmanuel hasn't had to fight Charlie again. He's fighting somebody else. Hit the fucking road, Charlie. Give a shit about that rematch. I don't want one. I want Navarrete versus Nuñez. Sugar Nuñez, who was in action earlier this year against Puerto Rico's own Pitufo Diaz, in what turned out to be a more solid fight. A more even fight than what I initially expected. I expected that Sugar might bulldoze Pitufo Diaz, but it turned out that Pitufo packed a bigger punch, arguably a bigger punch, than Sugar. That's what I remember about that fight. that Sugar's punches, and he landed a lot of them, were not having the same effect on Pitufo that Pitufo's punches were having on him. In any event, Sugar retained his title and won the fight, and now he's moving into this one, a unification with Emmanuel Navarrete. So there is a credible argument that neither champion looked all their best in their last outing. So how will they look with each other? It's not a secret that Emmanuel is a lot more experienced and decorated as a fighter than Sugar. Emmanuel has been a champion at 3 weights.
Been in there with the likes of former champion Isaac Dogbe, former champion Oscar Valdez. He too fought Pitufo Diaz, except when he fought Pitufo, he was a lot more dominant than Sugar just was.
It's a common opponent between them, and even though Emmanuel and Sugar are both pressure fighters, I think most would agree, most who are informed, that Emmanuel is not your according to Hoyle pressure fighter. He's always had a very unconventional, unorthodox style, getting away with things that would get most other fighters countered and most other fighters beat. It seems to work for Emmanuel Navarrete, those unconventional punches, that shovel uppercut from across the ring. It just works for him. Where Sugar is a bit more conventional and a bit more textbook, a few inches shorter than Emmanuel Navarrete, both fighters being close quarters fighters.
Mid-range to inside fighters, Matchroom and Top Rank have staged 1 or 2 unification matches in a manner of speaking years ago. Mighty Mo Hooker fought Jose Ramirez. Jose won, went back to Top Rank. More recently, Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev fought. Artur won the first one, Dimitri won the second.
And now this, Sugar Nuñez versus Emmanuel Navarrete. I don't think any boxing fans are going to be complaining about this one in what is Matchroom's effort to dominate the U.S. market now that both the PBC and Top Rank are in a weakened state. PBC's not doing anywhere near as many shows as they used to, and what they do, it's mostly pay-per-view. Top Rank, not having a broadcast partner, presents a golden opportunity for Matchroom to fortify their regular schedule of fights, funnel that many more boxing fans over to DAZN,
get more eyes on the platform. There have been a lot of complaints as of late about DAZN and what people are actually getting for their money, since Turkey shows are still pay-per-views, and now so are Frank Warren's. I don't think Eddie Hearn would bill Sugar Nuñez versus Emmanuel Navarrete as a pay-per-view.
he knows better.
It's a great fight, amazing fight, but it's not a fight you put behind a paywall.
Matchroom has already released a series of smaller shows that we will see in what remains of this year. And they're planning on doing Kelly versus Murtazaliev at 154 in January. And now this, Sugar Nuñez versus Emmanuel Navarrete. I don't anticipate that any of those fights are going to be behind a paywall. So this is welcome news, and this is Matchroom once again delivering for the boxing fans. As far as who would win this fight, let's save those conversations for when it's officially announced in the coming calendar year.
I'm not happy that he lost. I kind of feel like that could have been me. That was my moment. You know what I mean? If I would have gone in there, I know I would have beat him. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a hater, but that's kind of how I feel. But you know what I mean? I give all the flowers to Crawford. You know what I mean?
That should have been me in there. That should have been my.
If I would have got that fight, I would have been me. I would have been the one getting my hand raised. But like I said, it didn't happen, and that's why it didn't happen, because Canelo knows that would have happened.
It's a bit presumptuous to say that because Terence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez that you would have done the same, that David would have beat him as well, when Terence Crawford beat Canelo doing things that David doesn't really do. David doesn't fight on the balls of his feet, on his toes, moving around. For large spells in the fight, that's what Crawford was doing.
That's what Canelo was struggling with, the movement.
We all know that David Benavidez is not a mover, not a jabber, not a sugarfoot fighter. What David would have likely done in that situation was come forward, like he does in most every fight. He's going to come forward and make himself available for Canelo Alvarez's punches, for his counters, mid-range to inside, where Crawford, for long spells, was boxing from the outside, moving and pot-shotting and timing Canelo Alvarez's entry. I know that there were some highlight reel exchanges between Canelo and Crawford, but that wasn't really until the very end of the fight. By then, Crawford had amassed an early lead.
All by doing things that David doesn't do. So when David says that he feels that could have and should have been him, that if it were, he would have won, I think that's presumptuous. I'm not so sure.
At the risk of sounding cliche, styles make fights, and Terence Crawford and David Benavidez have two very different styles. And if that were David Benavidez at 168, what condition would he have been in? Because that's where Terence and Canelo fought.
At 168.
A weight that David Benavidez can no longer make, so that if he boiled down to 168 for a Canelo fight this past September, and that were him,
He would have been half dead.
emaciated, and his punch resistance likely would have suffered for it, to where if Canelo gets in with a hot one, it's going to do even more damage. It's not a foregone conclusion. It's presupposition that because Crawford won, David would have won. Nah, I don't think so.
Crawford won by boxing, where David Benavidez is not a boxer. He's a bruiser.
Why is he still obsessing about Canelo Alvarez and a fight at a weight where he no longer campaigns when he's got Anthony Yard and the whole light heavyweight division in front of him? Why does he still have Canelo on the brain?
Well, the biggest part of promoting David Benavidez as a fighter has been Canelo. Mentioning Canelo, talking about him in interviews, on podcasts, bringing him up even when you're not at the same weight anymore.
Biggest part of promoting David Benavidez has been Canelo Alvarez, so naturally, even when they're not at the same weight, David is going to bring him up and focus on him. What he likely wants is a transference, a passing of the torch, as that's what that fight would be theoretically. If they fought and David won, Canelo would have in effect passed him the torch. He wants a passing of the torch fight. He's fighting Anthony Yard, and that's a solid fight. That's a good fight. I like that fight, but it's not a passing of the torch fight.
What he wants is to absorb Canelo Alvarez's fan base, to make those fans his fans. And, you know, the way to do that is to fight Canelo and beat Canelo, at least in David's mind. But that ship has sailed, and that fight ain't gonna happen till we're still talking about it here and now. You're beating a dead horse.
He's going to have to do it the hard way, the way that Canelo Alvarez did in his younger years. You're going to have to build up your own legacy, your own resume, have your own fights. Anthony Yard services as a segue to an Artur Beterbiev fight in the coming calendar year, or a Dimitri Bivol fight for undisputed. If you can fight all of them and beat all of them, that will endear you to the boxing fans.
Yesterday, the World Boxing Council released their updated rank standings. Former champion Artur Beterbiev is ranked at number 1.
Still a significant fight, a consequential fight for David that a lot of people would like to see, a fight that I think Turkey El Sheikh would be willing to pay for while we wait for Dimitri Bivol to come back and bring back those 3 alphabet titles. The opportunity is there for David to create a legacy and a lane for himself.
That he shouldn't still be obsessing about Canelo Alvarez.
I don't think he knows how this looks to some people to still be obsessing about this guy and talking about this guy.
It's giving single white female. It's giving Fatal Attraction.
It's giving stalker vibes, is what it's giving. It's over, David. That fucking fight ain't gonna happen. Why don't you find something else to talk about? Why don't you talk more about what you're gonna do after the Yard fight?
Focus on that. Talk about that. Bring that up.
How the fuck are we still talking about Canelo versus Benavidez? How are you still talking about that? The writing is on the wall.
Read it.
Take the hint. That fucking shit ain't gonna happen. What are you gonna do? Moan about it? Mope around about it for the next few months? It's over!
Enough already.